Hello and welcome to Moments in History. I'm Linda Shenton-Matchett, author, speaker, and history geek. During my research, I often unearth intriguing and little-known facts about World War II that I love to share. Today, I'm talking about the Duke of Windsor and his alleged role as a Nazi sympathizer. Edward VIII is best remembered today for his infamous abdication from the throne in 1936 to marry American divorcee Wallis Simpson. But did you know there was considerable concern by England and the US that he and his wife were Nazi sympathizers? The possibility has been debated by numerous scholars as well as the general public in the decades since the war. Many feel that the evidence is circumstantial and the couple were innocent of any wrongdoing. Others assert the proof is incontrovertible that the Duke and the Duchess were traitors. Perhaps the truth is somewhere in the middle. According to some reports, Edward, who was named Prince of Wales on his 16th birthday, was insecure and often struggled to come to terms with his royal status. An underlying theme in his memoir was the feeling that he was not worthy of the role to which he had been born. In addition, having served in World War I and seen the brutality of war, he was left with the conviction that Britain should never go to war with Germany again, a belief that led to his strong support of appeasement with Hitler. But long before that, the prince developed a reputation as a pleasure-loving playboy during the Roaring Twenties. But as the Great Depression commenced in the 1930s, Edward found himself in a new role and threw himself into campaigns to alleviate the effects of unemployment. A proponent of radio and its ability to reach the masses, he gave several speeches using this media. However, his talks often caused controversy as he broke the royal code of political impartiality. Things only got worse after his speech to the British Legion in 1935 when he suggested a visit of reconciliation with Germany. Many feel his comments directly impacted the Anglo-German naval agreement that was being negotiated at that time. Coupled with his behaviors was his growing relationship with Simpson, who was reported to be strongly pro-German, as well as having been mistress to Germany's foreign minister Joachim von Ribbentrop. After 1 year as king, Edward abdicated in December of 1936 and married Simpson in June of the following year. She was snubbed by the royal family and refused the title Her Royal Highness, causing more hard feelings between the Duke and his family. In addition, there seemed to be no protocol on what to do with an abdicated sovereign, specifically what sort of public role he should take. Does this sound familiar with what's going on these days? Some feel he was frustrated and that he expected to live a quiet life in exile. But he was eager to carve out a new role for himself and ensure that his wife was treated as a full member of the royal family. So in 1937, when the couple was invited to Germany to meet Hitler, he jumped at the chance. After all, he was familiar with the country and he had relatives there. Perhaps he saw himself in a diplomatic role. Certainly his views of a negotiated peace were shared by more than a few senior officials in the British government. Nonetheless, the Crown was not happy to see him go. One writer feels that he went to look at housing commissions, which was an issue of interest when he was king. Another says the real reason was to show Wallis a good time and to see what it was like to enjoy a royal tour. For in fact, that's how they were treated. She was treated like a royal princess, rather than an outsider and an outcast like she had been in England. Members of the German aristocracy bowed and curtsied, and she was treated with dignity and status. They were feted by dozens of high-level Nazi officials and Hitler himself. What did they talk about? State secrets, social issues, treaties? No one seems to know. Shortly after the visit, the Duke and Duchess moved to France, and then they had to flee to Biarritz after the Germans invaded. By June of 1940, they were in Spain. Then they moved on to Portugal. Finally, in August of that year, Winston Churchill arranged for the Duke to become the governor of the Bahamas, effectively moving him out of the way. but certainly not out of the eye of the authorities who continued to watch them during the course of the war. Documents that have recently been declassified indicate that military organizations and government agencies on both sides of the pond felt that by 1940, the, quote, Duchess was obtaining a variety of information concerning the British and French official activities that she was passing on to the Germans, end quote. And, quote, communications between the Duchess and von Ribbentrop were apparently facilitated because of the pronounced Nazi sympathies, end quote. During their time in the Bahamas, the Duke and Duchess visited the U.S. on multiple occasions. While in the States, the FBI coordinated surveillance with the couple's bodyguards. An 18-page report was produced about one 5-day trip that ascertains Hermann Göring and the Duke of Windsor had, quote, reached a deal that after Germany won the war, Göring, through the control of the army, was going to overthrow Hitler and then install the Duke as King of England. The report fails to indicate, however, how the intelligence was obtained. And is the information true? Possibly, but as proven, Edward was a reluctant king before the war. Did he really want to reign after the war? Speculation will continue, but the facts remain. Germany lost the war, and the Duke and Duchess moved back to France, where he lived out the rest of his life until dying of throat cancer in 1972. Thank you for stopping by this moment in history. If you have any stories or information about the Duke of Windsor that you'd like to share, put them in the comments section of this video. But please, keep it clean. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you'll never miss another. You can find me across social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, as well as on my website and blog, which is located at www.lindashentonmatchett.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Moments in History.